Hey, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a fish tank inspired look with acrylic and reading some ghost stories from Reddit. Let's get right into it. This incident happened a few years back while I was still in high school. I was getting ready for a night out. My older sister had recently moved back in, which meant we had to share a bathroom. Like usual, we were arguing about, everything. While bickering, we both happened to notice a balloon floating right past us, down the hall from my room to hers. I had gotten the balloon from a baby shower a few days before and had it in my room. No windows were open, no AC was on, it was just us two in the house. We immediately went silent and still in a state of fear and disbelief. The balloon wasn't just floating. It literally was being pulled forward by the freaking string. The balloon bobbed its way into her room as we just watched. Not a muscle was moved, not a breath was taken. We both finally were able to figure out what we just witnessed and embraced in a frantic hug-scream sandwich. Needless to say, she slept in my room for about a week after that. Alright, story 2. I used to own a house in central Massachusetts. It was built in 1901, a half-rotten Georgian colonial on a main road. I was foolish to buy it, but I was only 25. It was a romantic wreck. The previous owners were a family that had lived in town for a long time. I had never really met the guy, but I remember him from the time I accidentally hit his son in the gut really hard with the thrown baseball bat. I was about 10 and he was pretty old then. So we ended up buying his house after he died. There were a bunch of antiques and stuff. We found a beautiful Horner accordion in a dingy old case in an attic cubby. We knew his name Victor and would talk about him often, mostly because of his frugal, slapdash repairs and so-called home improvements. So regardless of any potential spiritual presence, his legacy was forefront in our lives, and we were constantly cursing Victor and his nightmarish idea of handymanisms. Strange things were perceived in the house, apparitions and whatnot, but not by me. It was kind of fun to believe. We bought this little device that allows you to make any electrical, incandescent lamp into a touch lamp. The novelty of that was that by plugging the device into the 120-volt electrical wall socket and then the lamp into the device, that you could now control the lamp just by touching it. Not only could you turn the lamp on and off just by tapping any metal part of the lamp, but it would also dim successfully through different brightness levels. Spiffy. One night we were watching TiVo in the next room. The house was dark and we had just the light of the TV. Suddenly, the hallway lit up with light from the bedroom, which was the next room over. The bedroom touch lamp had come on by itself. I got up from the couch, walked into the bedroom, and tapped the lamp to cycle it back to the off position. I went back to the living room and sat down on the couch again. Very shortly after that, the bedroom lamp turned on again, but it didn't stay on. It began to very quickly cycle, dim, medium, bright, off, over and over, rapid fire. My wife, or fiance, or whatever she was at that point, and I looked at each other. I was a bit scared because it had never before exhibited anything like this rogue, autonomous behavior. Trying to be funny, I yelled out, "Victor, knock it off." Instantly, the light went off. It stayed off. It was the only time that happened. We ended up disconnecting it shortly after that out of fear that it would happen again, perhaps in the wee hours when we were fast asleep. Nope, bye-bye. So yeah, it was probably a defective touch lamp switch device. Still scared the butterilla out of me that night. It was one thing for the light to start controlling itself, but to stop the instant that I called out the ghost's name, I sure don't miss that house. Okay, on to story number 3. This was in the spring of 2018. My daughter was less than a month old, and I was a single mom. We were living with my mother and stepfather. My daughter and I shared a bedroom. She had her own nursery, but at night she would stay in my bedroom and sleep in a co-sleeper next to my bed. Being only a couple weeks old, she often woke up at night for a bottle and a diaper change. Since I hadn't yet figured out I could just put the necessary items for a bottle on the nightstand, I always had to go to the kitchen and make one. One night, we were basically running through the same drill. She woke up around 2 a.m. I changed her diaper, and then I went to the kitchen to prepare a bottle while she stayed behind in her co-sleeper. High walls, and it's not like she could roll over yet. About halfway down the hall, I heard my mother. Apparently, she'd been woken up and was comforting my baby. "It's okay, baby girl. Mama's getting you a bottle. She'll be right back." "Shh, shh, shh. It's going to be just fine. Mama's going to fix it." She kept on while I made the bottle. When I was almost back, she said, "I think I hear Mama. Yay, our bottle's here." I turned into the other room, already thanking my mother for her help and apologizing for waking her up. But no one was there. No one. Just my daughter and her co-sleeper. I peeked my head into my parents' room across the hall, and they were both sleeping. Hard, snoring. I gave my little girl her bottle, and she drifted back to sleep. I felt a little silly, but I whispered thank you to whoever it was comforting her. All right, on to the fourth and the final story for today's video. This one is a little spooky too, I will say so myself. All right. When I was 8 and my brother was 9, we moved with my mom to a very small town after my parents split up. The new house was 2 stories with 3 bedrooms and a den. There was a large bedroom on the main floor with a full bathroom and a small den at the front of the house. The master was upstairs along with another room that was entirely purple. Paint, carpet, drapes. My brother immediately claimed the big room on the main floor with the bathroom, and I was stuck with the purple nightmare. When we were moving in, we noticed a lock on the door to my brother's room, but it was odd because it was locked from the outside with a key. We eventually found the key in a cellar. My mom just brushed it off. The room also had one window close to the ceiling that was long but not wide and didn't open, so it let in light, but you couldn't really see out unless you stood on something. The other 2 bedrooms both had regular locks on the doors that locked from the inside. There was an attic at the top of the stairs that also had a lock on the outside, so we didn't think too much of it. We all went to bed the first night, and I don't remember anything too off myself. Just new house strangeness. The next morning, my brother did mention that the light in his bathroom kept flickering, and water was running. The toilet was flushing. He was a bit freaked out. My mom checked the room, and everything seemed fine in the daylight. He decided to stick it out. We explored the house that day, found the key to the door and odd leftovers from previous people in the cellar and the attic. The attic was right beside my room, and I was a bit spooked by it, but I'm sure that it was just me being 8. The next night, after we all went to bed, I woke up to my brother screaming at the top of his voice. "Mom, help me. Please, stop. Mom, help. Help!" from downstairs. I got there first because my room was closest, but my mom was right behind me. He was in bed thrashing and looked like he was basically having a fit. When I got closer to his bed, he literally jumped out of it crying and staring at his bed. He said he felt something on his chest holding him down and what felt like thumbs being pressed into his eyes and a voice whispering, "Die out, die out, die out," in his ear. We couldn't see anything in the room, but my brother was adamant that he was not going to stay in there. My mom was trying to cheer him up and said he could sleep in her room. My brother and I were halfway up the stairs, which were across from the room, and he asked her to please shut the door. I have never seen him so spooked before. She laughed and said okay, and went back to close the door, and even made a joke about being able to lock the door now, and did just that. As soon as she started going up the stairs, we heard a loud knocking on the door coming from the inside. Needless to say, my brother and I screamed bloody murder and ran for my mom's bedroom with her close behind. He moved into the small den the next day. He just couldn't sleep in there, so we turned into a rec room and had our couch and TV there instead. He had no issues in there. We never slept in that room. but anyone that came to stay with us said they would be woken up by activity in the bedroom or catch glimpses of something, but no one ever felt what my brother did, thankfully. We only lived there for about a year and a half. It's been 30 years now, and I have always wondered who or what was kept locked in that room and why. Alright, that's going to be it for today's video. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe out there.